Welcome in. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, I want to talk a few stories today. We're talking a little bit about the impact of the major injuries happening to some of the AFC's teams and how that could affect the playoffs. Garrett Wilson, his injury update, and chosen Robbie Anderson, whatever his name is right now, just got waived. Is he possibly coming into the New York Jets? I want to get into it all right here. First and foremost, let's hop into the first discussion. We got to see Joe Burrow go down with a sprained wrist. Apparently, he's out for the next 4 weeks. Deshaun Watson, fractured shoulder, out for the season. And that is a lot of news for an AFC playoff picture that is relying on those two particular teams to be in the hunt moving forward. So obviously, the Bengals lose last night to the Ravens, who also lost their tight end Mark Andrews for the year. So there's a whole lot of injury stuff happening within the AFC. Now, as far as the playoff picture goes, look, I still feel at 4-5 with the Bills this week and the Dolphins the next week, the best chance the Jets have to get into the playoffs is going to be through the division first and foremost. We obviously have 4 division games left. We got the 2 against Miami and then the season ender against New England up in New England. So as far as the playoff picture goes, I do still feel like the Chiefs are going to be the 1 seed. The Ravens might slip a little bit, but I would say 2 seed is still very much in their grasp. Then you got the Jaguars are probably the next strongest team, but even them, I don't feel like super confident about. And as far as the Dolphins, they haven't beaten a team over 500 in over a year at this point. So could the Steelers even wind up winning that division in some weird roundabout fashion? If Kenny Pickett wins the division for the damn Steelers, then Mike Tomlin deserves to get coach of the year. Like the fact that they've been out yardaged in every single game this season, but are still winning is bonkers to me. Absolutely nuts. But at least the Jets, look, sitting at 4-5, I definitely thought our playoff shots were like, I think it was 3% by the time the Raider game ended. But because of the Bills losing and then the injuries to all these quarterbacks and stuff, the Jets percentage is actually elevating up to, I believe it's like 20% is where we're at right now. So I'm feeling a lot more confident heading into the weekend. But we got some more stuff to get into, whole lots of talk. So I want to hear what you guys think. Where do the Jets end up finishing from a playoff seed perspective? Do they sneak in? Up next, I want to talk a little bit about Garrett Wilson. He was at the press box. No, not at the press box. What's that word called? He gave an interview today during practice, after practice. According to Ian Rappaport, Garrett Wilson, who has been limited all week with an elbow injury, is questionable for Sunday, with Robert Saleh saying he feels good about him and many others that are questionable as far as playing. Now, as far as what Garrett Wilson had to say, this is what he said after practice.
It's doing better, man. I'm feeling good, and we're gonna rock this weekend. So
you're fine for Sunday.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So Garrett Wilson says he will be fine on Sunday. That is important for the New York Jets team that needs some offense, because the last 4 games, if you were to put that over a 17-game season, Garrett Wilson is currently on pace for 1,500 yards. Now, I think on the season he's right around like aiming for probably 1,100 or 1,200 yards because, he didn't have as great a performances the first few games. But dude is electric. You can't, in a team that needs all the offensive help they can get, you cannot be missing your wide receiver 1 when you can't rely on wide receiver 2, Allen Lazard, just behind him. Which brings us to another point that fans are starting to make, and that is one chosen Robbie Anderson, or Robin Chosen, whatever his name is, was waived by the Dolphins recently, and now there's some rumors circulating maybe the Jets could go after Robbie. Here's what Coach Saleh had to say on the topic.
You guys have dealt with some issues at receiver. One of the guys that's familiar to this area, maybe not necessarily your regime, is Robbie Anderson, chosen. I'm not sure what he goes by now. He's on the waiver wire, release, let go. Is that something you guys might explore?
Well, Joe. I know Joe will always turn over every stone. I know he can flat out roll. Pretty sure he got us for one in Carolina when our first year. Was that him? He did. That was him. But no, he's he is. I remember. I'll keep it to myself. I remember the exact play. Right one. There you go. I see you guys. But no, he can roll. He's got a speed element. He's got a fastball, and whenever a player has a fastball, he's always worth talking about.
When players have a fastball, they're always worth talking about. Joe Douglas is going to leave no stone unturned. Now, he does hit the waiver wire, which means the worst teams in the league get the first crack at him before he possibly shakes free and then heads back to Miami on the practice squad. I think it's something that the Jets should seriously consider. If you're wondering why I'm so confused on what this guy's damn name is, he came into the league as Robbie Anderson, then changed it to Robbie Anderson with a Y, then Chosen Anderson. Now he's Robbie Chosen. I'm waiting for the ROBBY Chosen Robbie iteration to drop, or maybe I've missed it and it's just all over the place right now. I can't keep it straight. As far as if the Jets were to claim him on the waiver wire, he has about 1 year, or I guess half a year, with about $500,000 left on his contract. So you're only talking $500,000. The Jets definitely have the cap space to do that. In terms of his statistics and the pros and cons as to what Robbie could bring to the team. Now you have, did I not activate this? Come on. Boom. All right, pros versus cons. He's fast. And Garrett Wilson is kind of banged up a little bit. He's still going to play, but a little banged up. We need number 2 wide receiver, first and foremost. Now, clearing out that deep area of the field, we don't really have that receiver unless you're going to use Gibson for that. And we kind of want to utilize him as a slot receiver. So you're keeping him sort of near the line of scrimmage. Now, you don't have Mecole Hardman anymore. That was kind of your burner that you expected to sort of take the top off. So maybe Anderson could come in here and do something special. Not to mention, we play Miami in 2 weeks, let alone a second time down in Miami as well. So I would love to bring Robbie in from a pure perspective of this guy might have some intel and like sort of fills a rough need. Now, over the course of the last 2 seasons, this new team that he's going to ultimately be on, this will be his 4th team in the last year and a half or so. He was on Carolina, went to the Cardinals, went to the Dolphins, and then now obviously will be his new team. 20 receptions, 350 yards, and 2 touchdowns over the course of the last 2 seasons. He has 1 reception this season for a touchdown as a 68-yarder in Miami. I believe it was last week. I think it was last week. So something to look at, I feel like, with Robbie. And look, I'm not like the biggest Robbie Anderson fan. I didn't want to see him leave when we wound up letting him go to Carolina. But for me, if I'm looking at needs for the Jets, we do need a burner. We do need a number 2 wide receiver. But the team that relies so heavily on speed in Miami basically said, oh, Robbie Anderson, you don't do special teams. We can pass off on you. There's no need. We're getting Devin A-Chain back, and they are all about that sort of speed. I don't know. I don't know how much Robbie really has left in the tank to give the Jets, let alone can our offensive line sustain blocks long enough to actually take advantage of a deep shot down the field. I think there's probably something to question about that. Robbie's never really been one to run routes super crisp either. So I don't know. I'm on the fence. I could go either way with Robbie Anderson. It's not a whole heck of a lot of money, and at least it's a swing that might be worth taking, and at the bare minimum provide some level of intel on your division rival Dolphins. So guys, let me know, what do you think of the playoff picture as it stands today with the Bengals and Browns both sustaining major injuries to their quarterbacks? What do you think of Garrett Wilson's injury? Do you think it's going to hamper him and our chances of possibly beating the Buffalo Bills this weekend? And what do you think of Chosen Robbie Anderson? Should the Jets go after him? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets. J-E-T-S-J!